Welcome to section 6.1 of genetics. In this section, we'll be memorizing the autosomal dominant disorders. Let's get started. First off, here is the beautiful outdoor fall background where this scene will take place. Next, we'll show an old broken down car with dominoes hanging from the rear view mirror. I know, you usually see dice hanging from the mirror, but dominoes look kind of like dice and it fits the story better. The dominoes will represent autosomal dominant diseases. So dominoes for autosomal dominant. The old broken down car will help you remember hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. So car for cardiomyopathy. The car belongs to a hunter, so we'll show a hunter next to him. The hunter is currently hunting with his rifle, so this should help you remember Huntington disease. Notice that he's wearing patched up clothing. He also has an old broken down car. Both of these ideas allude to the idea that he's poor. Just think of this old hunter guy who's unable to pay for his bills, so he drives out to this forested area in search of food. So poor for acute intermittent porphyria. Next, notice that he's hunting this hippo. He's pretty desperate for food because it's obviously pretty shady for this guy to be hunting hippos. But he doesn't seem to care too much. He's determined to get himself some hippo meat. The hippo should help you remember von Hippel-Lindau disease. Also notice that the hippo has very prominent and swollen lips. The word lip is in polyposis, so this refers to familial adenomatous polyposis. His lips are swollen because he's been eating these red berries that look kind of like red blood cells. Unfortunately for our hippo friend, he's allergic to the berries, hence the swollen lips. These small, round, spherical berries represent hereditary spherocytosis. The tree has acorns on it. It's fall and the acorns have become ripe, so they've started falling off the trees. So notice that one of the acorns has fallen off the tree and bounced off the hunter's head right here. The acorns will represent achondroplasia. Next, we see some leaves falling to the ground in this fall weather. The leaves signify Li-Fraumeni syndrome, so leaf for Li-Fraumeni. Notice that the river is now filled with a bunch of little spots. These represent oil or fat, and the river represents the vascular system. Together, these should help you think of familial hypercholesterolemia. Okay, notice that the river is overflowing onto the ground. Von Willebrand factor normally binds to the collagen during endothelial damage and prevents hemorrhage. Therefore, a leaky river should make you think of a leaky blood vessel, which is basically what happens in patients with von Willebrand disease. Next, we'll show these two guys tubing down the river. They were pretty stoked for a day out of the office and decided to go tubing down this awesome river. Up to this point, they had been enjoying the thrilling adventure, admiring the fall leaves and all the acorns on the ground. However, right as they come across the bend, they suddenly become scared about this hunter guy who seems to be a shady character. The tube represents tuberous sclerosis. Also notice that this guy has a pretty awesome looking spiderweb tattoo. This is likely the last time he can show it off to his friends because it will soon be too cold. This should make you think of hereditary hemorrhagic telangiectasia, because in this disorder, patients develop telangiectasias which look kind of like spider webs. Also notice that their arms are very long and lanky, which is a characteristic finding seen in Marfan syndrome. This is a good thing for them because they can maneuver around and paddle extra fast with those long arms. Hopefully they'll be able to avoid our crazy hunter character and avoid the gunfire. So the long arms represent Marfan syndrome. Notice on the very ends of their paddles are little frayed fibrous edges right here. They're also going through somewhat of a financial crisis like our hunter friend, so they of course had to bring old used paddles. The fibrous ends of the paddles represent neurofibromatosis. Both neurofibromatosis type 1 and type 2 are autosomal dominant conditions. Next, we'll add a third guy who has unfortunately fallen off the tube in this perilous adventure. They all seem pretty scared of this hunter guy, so this third man jumped off to avoid the gunfire, but the old man isn't a very good aim and accidentally shot him in the leg. Maybe it was the fact that the acorn bounced off his head and messed up his aim, or that he's just a terrible aim. Either way, our hunter friend is now in some serious trouble with the law. Luckily for the injured man, he only has a leg wound, so he should survive. So the three men represent Men syndrome. Notice that the man who took the bullet has a fragment of bone sticking out of his leg. This should make you think of osteogenesis imperfecta. Recall that osteogenesis imperfecta is a genetic bone disorder that results in decreased production of type 1 collagen, resulting in fragile bones. So the fractured bone here from the bullet should hopefully help you connect these ideas. Finally, notice that he also has a little bit of muscle hanging off of his leg. The muscle should make you think of myotonic muscular dystrophy. On a brighter note, the hippo seems pretty happy that he narrowly escaped death.